At least 1,500 teachers assigned to schools in Kenya's northern frontier have staged a sit-in at the Teachers Service Commission offices in Nairobi, demanding transfers. The teachers drawn from Mandera, Wajir and Garissa counties remained steadfast in their quest to be transferred due to rampant insecurity in the northeastern region, which has been a target of Al-Shabaab. This comes at a time at least 64 people were killed in the month of November by Al-Shabaab militia. Teachers claim that the attacks traumatized them and will only return if the government can ensure their full protection. The Ministry of Interior has continually reiterated that all public servants must return to work to their workstations.
It is better uwe na uhai kuliko kuwa kwa maiti ama kwa jeneza. Serikali inajua tu kutuma ndege kule kuendea mtu yule amekufa. Hiyo ni haki kweli? Hakuna wakati walimu wamewahi kupata haki yao ya ukweli ila kupigania. Lakini tunajua haki yetu itapatikana leo. Na sisi tunasema tukiwa walimu hatubanduki hapa Nairobi. Wale wanakataa hiyo transfer, ngoja waende kule, wakae kule mwezi mmoja waone vile mambo yako.
Let's just have a look at some cultural practices right now. And due to their way of life and deep-rooted traditions that do not favor formal education, many pastoralist communities do not prioritize schooling. As a result of this, the illiteracy levels are high as many boys who come of age join Moranism while their female counterparts are married off at an early age after undergoing female genital mutilation. One Maasai Moran who scored 425 marks in the recently released KCP examinations was celebrated by a community in Doldol, Laikipia North. His win at the Lentile Hills Academy implying that there is a lot of potential even in the Asol areas that have continued to lag behind many development issues. A victory for girls too who managed to get away from forced marriages. Carol Nderi was in Laikipia North and here is that story.
Jubilation was palpable at the Lentile Hills Academy in Laikipia North. Kisalei Saikong, a Maasai boy aged 14, garnered 425 marks in the KCPE examinations released last month. A victory not just for him or his family, but for the larger pastoralist communities who are seen to be rooted in their ways and traditions at the expense of formal education. Saikong had indeed been initiated into Moranism as per the dictates of the Maasai culture for a boy his age.
Immediately after joining them, we were given some tools we carried chasing girls.
His mother, Jane Saikong, says following the path of formal education has not been easy, what with the deeply rooted beliefs still rife at their Doldol locality that formal education is a waste of time and resources. Saikong still minds the cattle during holidays.
Yeah, we were going to the forest, though it was at some points it was risky because we were getting the animals like elephants. We still managed and coped with it.
But his mother has taken it upon herself to encourage the residents of Doldol to take their sons and even daughters to school.
Ningefurahi kuambia Wakenya ama wafugaji tujitahidi kwa sababu tumebaki kwa muda mrefu tukiwa nyuma.
At the Lentile Hills Academy, the proprietors, Francis and Mary Caparo, go round Doldol and its environs, encouraging the residents to enroll their children in school. The head teacher, James Giduku, says for those with a desire to pursue schooling, poverty often becomes a stumbling block.
These children are capable, far capable even than the rest of the children in other places, only that they have never been given an opportunity.
It is not just the boys who are lured into Moranism. The girls perhaps face even tougher obstacles. Female genital mutilation and early marriages force many to drop out of school. Grace Kipish was forced into an early marriage arranged by her father. At the tender age of 12, she was married off to a 66-year-old man.
Ilikuwa kulazimisha ndoa mapema na baba, but my mom was against it. So I was supported by my mom to run away from home to school.
She was rescued by the One More Day for Children Rescue Center alongside others that had faced a similar fate. Their melodious voices, an indicator of a better future.
In this home we have children with children, you know. A 12-year-old who was forcefully married off and has a baby. So now it's a baby with another baby.
Others who come when they are pregnant, and we take care of them here.
While it may seem that the odds are against residents from arid and semi-arid areas due to biting poverty and deep-rooted traditions, it is possible for them to pursue formal education and become successful citizens. It can be done. Well, since time immemorial, poverty has almost been synonymous with the residents of the northern frontier. But now there's a real chance that formal education might actually be the saving grace for the people of this part of the country. Carol Derry, KTN, Laikipia North.
Quite some potential there. Thank you very much, Karen Derry, for that story. Let's just move on to another story that has received a lot of attention this week. And the National Youth Service was this morning deployed to Langata Road Primary School to clear the debris of the remains of a wall that had been erected on the land alleged to have been grabbed by a private developer. The controversy surrounding the piece of land has seen the president talk tough on the officials of the Ministry of Lands as well as the National Lands Commission. Lands Cabinet Secretary Charity Ngilu, who was on the site to inspect the process, however, insists that her ministry raised the red flag long before the matter got out of hand. Timothy Otieno reports.
Why didn't the Lands Ministry, why didn't the National Land Commission? We have been reading and hearing about this whole issue since December of last year. Why did they not take the necessary action?
After a stern statement from a visibly agitated president, the National Youth Service was at Langata Road Primary School setting up for the construction of a new wall. The wall, officials say, will demarcate the playground from potential land grabbers. The Land CS was at hand to supervise the exercise. She insists that the face behind Airport View Housing Limited, the alleged grabber, will be revealed.
I'm going to get the name. And I said I'll get the name that is in the registrar. However, let me also say here, there is a name behind the name. And this is what we are going to get to at the end of this exercise.
Her take on the president's statement that the matter should have been handled earlier.
We, on our own part, had already made the statement. We had already looked at the documents. The National Land Commission were here on Friday and they made the announcement from here.
Schools like these are targeted because they are victims of our process where no schools had been given title deeds. So, but the lack of a title deed of a school like this does not really condemn them.
The exercise will see a new wall erected and the playground leveled. This even as questions of the identity of the alleged land grabber remain unanswered.
I must make good the wrong that has happened. Something has gone, seriously wrong here.
There are some people who are allergic to empty space. When they see it, they have to do something to that space.
The Ministry of Lands and the National Land Commission have now started a thorough survey of all public land in an exercise meant to expose land grabbers. Timothy Otieno, KTN.
Elsewhere, Elgeyo Marakwet Senator Kipchumba Murkomen says all parties affiliated to the Jubilee coalition will cease to exist just before the next general election. Murkomen says Jubilee Alliance Party has been in existence and will accommodate all Jubilee affiliates. He was speaking to KTN's Aaron Ochieng.
Pleasure to have you, Senator Murkomen, on the show. Probably you should start by telling us this new party, the Jubilee Alliance Party, where has it come from?
The party was not formed. It existed. But what has been done is to rebrand an existing party and give it impetus and a lease of life by basically giving a statement of intention that come 2017, we will wind up these other political parties and all of us will join our coalition party called Jubilee Alliance Party. And that the process of winding up these other parties so that we can join the one bigger house has begun. And it starts by fielding one candidate in Kajiado. It starts by building that house, by putting the necessary political structures in place. And then it will lead to the culmination of the National Delegates Conference of the respective coalition party members to wind up now the party and join the other coalition.
Going by your argument, would it be easy to disband the other affiliate parties of Jubilee?
It's not easy to, generally, it's not easy to take people to unfamiliar territories, because it wasn't easy for us to form URP. It wasn't also easy to tell people we were going to combine URP and TNA. So nothing is easy in politics. Just like it wasn't easy for NOR to convince people that it was going to rain and that there was need for, collecting, building the ark. But nevertheless, NOR built the ark and became the beacon of hope and secured those who are ready to enter the ark. So the same issue here is that we are forming, the ark has been formed. We think that for our political security in the long term, in the long run, it's important that the party, Jubilee Alliance Party, becomes a house that is going to accommodate all of us, so that then we can consolidate our democratic gains, and as a testimony of our firm belief in national unity. And it's a philosophy that should also transcend just Jubilee. We are not the pioneers, though. I mean, CORD has attempted, but they have not succeeded. They are still attempting, but we have shown them the way. So this is the route, so that in Kenya we have 2 or 3 political parties that carry national character, proper national character.
What is the implication of having a coalition parties in terms of a democratic space of the country? Would it be giving people less options when it comes to democracy?
The thing that should worry many Kenyans is internal party democracy. What should worry them is not that few parties are existing. What should worry people most is that are these few existing parties giving an avenue for all their members to exercise free and democratic environment, that people can feel that they own the party and not that they're being dictated by a few people.
Yourself and Senator Kindiki have been at the forefront in popularizing the Jubilee Alliance Party, and one would argue that both of you are foot soldiers, you being the foot soldier of the Deputy President and Kindiki being the foot soldier of the President. How would you base that argument, and what is the relevance of those who are saying that you're playing a part in advocating for what the Deputy President wants?
We have seen so many arguments out there. Some people tell you that you are becoming a sycophant of Jubilee, you are doing this. I find that argument very, very, very faulty, because for the simple reason that we all formed Jubilee. Myself and Kindiki are more privileged because we participated in the negotiation and the drafting and signing of the coalition agreement. We all know, we all have the map of where we are going, and we all have a responsibility to ensure that that coalition succeeds. So no one is a sycophant of the other, because we are all Jubilee members. And I have always joke and say that I actually cannot be a sycophant of Jubilee because I'm Jubilee myself. I'm not even a supporter of Jubilee, I'm Jubilee. It's my responsibility to go and look for supporters. And that responsibility is in all of us. And people say, oh, Murkomen or Kindiki are speaking on behalf of the deputy or the president. Let me be very clear. The deputy president and the president are 2 fine gentlemen, very eloquent, endowed with good command of English, Kiswahili, and their respective mother tongues. And when they want to speak, they will speak.
Well, in the second part of that interview that will be aired tonight, Senator Murkomen talks of the significance of the upcoming Kajiado Central by-election and his political ambitions after the expiry of his term as Elgeyo Marakwet Senator. Be sure to catch the second part of that interview tonight on KTN Prime. Now, elsewhere, we go to Nkaiseri, who was meeting a number of Interior Cabinet Secretary Joseph Nkaiseri, says the Ministry of Tourism sector in the country has performed well despite security challenges witnessed last year. Speaking at the opening of a two-day international conference at the Great Lakes region, Nkaiseri noted that terrorism remains a major threat to regional development across Africa and called on the member states to tackle the challenge.
Neutralization of negative forces in Eastern DRC. 3. Bringing peace and stability to the Central African Republic and the Republic of South Sudan. 4. Bringing an end to illegal exploitation of natural resources in this region. 5. Addressing youth unemployment. 6. Entrenching regional integration and the fight against gender-based violence.
This growing youth population can be an asset to our continent. It can also be a disaster waiting to happen.
We in Kenya have been the target of some of the most vicious attacks ever launched by transnational terrorism. However, this has not blunted our results remain an open, competitive, and caring republic. But it also raises a fundamental question: how to ensure that our republic continue to be an admirable democracy without being threatened by terrorism.
Elsewhere, Lord's Resistance Army Commander Dominic Ongwen is now in ICC custody. He was handed over to the court on the 17th of this month and is scheduled to make his initial appearance in court soon. Mr. Ongwen will receive a medical visit and will appear as soon as possible before the judges in the presence of a defense lawyer. The date of the initial appearance hearing will be announced soon. During the hearing, the judges of the pre-trial chamber 2 will verify the identity of the suspect and the language in which he is able to follow the proceedings. Mr. Ongwen will then be informed of the charges against him. The judges will also schedule a date for the opening of the confirmation of charges hearing, a preliminary step to decide whether the case will be referred to a trial or not. Dominic Ongwen is the alleged brigade commander of the LRA and had a warrant of arrest issued against him in 2005 for 3 counts of crime against humanity and 4 counts of war against crimes committed in 2004 in Uganda. Four people died and several others were seriously injured when the lorry they were traveling in from Wajir to Isiolo hit a herd of camels and overturned. According to eyewitnesses, the driver of the lorry hit the camels as he was trying to navigate a sharp corner at a bridge near Gambela along the Isiolo-Wajir road. In accordance with the Islamic faith, the 4 were buried immediately at the Isiolo Muslim cemetery. A total of 70 goats and 9 camels died during the night accident. Residents caused a frenzy trying to get the meat from the dead animals. Not a single carcass remained by the time the police arrived at the scene this morning.
Imekuja na hivi sasa ikagonga na pigana kichwa hivi na kuanguka hivi na watu. Sasa hata maiti ingine tulibaka breakdown na jeshi nakuja ndio iliinua tukatoa chini.
Police from the crime unit in Nakuru County have recovered an assortment of goods worth 2 million shillings hijacked by armed robbers at Pipeline along the Nakuru-Nairobi highway on Sunday night. A lorry carrying the cargo on transit from Nairobi to Eldoret was ambushed by an armed gang at around 10 p.m. Sunday. The turnboy and the driver of the lorry were injured during the incident. According to Nakuru DCIO James Lelia, the attackers threw stones at the windscreen, hitting the driver on the head, forcing him to lose control of the vehicle. The occupants were then tied and tortured until police rescued them on Tuesday morning. Police later traced the lorry to Rongai Center in Nakuru with its consignment missing.
Ile kuingia msituni wakora wakawa wametokea mahali walikuwa wamejificha. Sasa ni kutoka na kuanza kuwakatakata panga.
So lori tayari ilikuwa imebadilishwa namba na tukapata imekuwa packed kando ya maduka hapo Rongai. These are people who are using crude weapons. We are not sure which gang it is. But there's a lady ambaye alireceive mali. She's at large, alitoroka, bado tunamtafuta.
The government now says it will use the windfall from the low price of oil to expand its development of alternative sources of energy. The statement came amid growing fears that the falling oil prices might slow down the transition to clean energy. KTN's Jorge Onai reports from Abu Dhabi, where a debate on oil prices continued on the sidelines of a clean energy summit.
At the opening of the Sustainability Week in Abu Dhabi, only alternatives to oil were supposed to be on the agenda. But oil, with its falling prices, quickly found its way here, as leaders debated what the impact of the falling price of crude would mean for clean energy.
Renewable energy has graduated from an expensive alternative to a competitive technology of choice.
But one area that remains of key concern is transportation, where most of the vehicles are still powered by oil products. An investment in cleaner sources of energy may be slowed down by cheap oil.
Biofuels will be significantly affected by these low oil prices on the short term.
The price of crude oil in the international market has fallen by almost 60% since June last year, owing to what some experts believe is an oversupply and a weak demand in a faltering global economy. In Kenya, fuel prices have fallen by up to 20% in under 6 months as a result. But the government says even the low prices are not low enough to dissuade it from pursuing alternatives to diesel that is currently used to generate some of the electricity in the country.
We are not an oil-producing country, and therefore we need the hard currency to import heavy fuel oil to generate. When you look at renewable, the wind is available locally within our country, solar is available, geothermal is available.
If God gave the Kenyans geothermal and oil price dropped, you don't have to spend. You better do more prospecting on your geothermal because it will go back up again. You don't want to be subject of that. So now that you save, you take that money, you say, fine, now I do the solar revolution in Kenya. Now I do the wind. Now I build my geothermal.
Now, for the moment, there is no telling just how long the slump in oil prices will continue. But for those pushing for a faster transition to renewable energy, the choice now is to either keep their eye on the pump or just run their race. Joageo, KTN, Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates.
Well, and that story brings us to the end of this bulletin. But before I go, I'm just going to leave you with a did you know fact, unless I'm going to be in trouble with Edith Kimani. And this one is a bit disturbing, but did you know that unless food is mixed with saliva, you cannot taste it? Well, now you know. My name is Ian Wafula. Do have yourself a lovely afternoon.